everybody. Welcome to the show. I'm Sherry Schreiner. A couple things I want to talk about. I don't know if you've noticed, but the Earth seems to have shifted again. We're off a couple more degrees. The sun is rising way northeast, setting way northwest. And right now it's off a few degrees of where it should be at noon. And so kind of hanging over there in the 11 o'clock position when it should be at noon. That's how far our Earth is wobbling and shifting. And if you've noticed, they're really panicking about the chemtrail spraying at sunsets. And we've been watching this forever. They're always, in the sunrise, they start about 4 or 5 a.m., start chemtrailing the east. And then at sunsets, they start about 4 o'clock in the afternoon and start chemtrailing the west. And what was interesting was last night, both sides of the Earth were lit up at sunset, both the east and the west. And they had a huge flock contingencies of clouds going over to the east to try to bury what it was that was lit up over there. I don't know what it was because it was packed with clouds, but you could see through the patch of clouds that something bright was back there, hiding something. I don't know, if you go out at night, sometimes I go out at night if it's not raining. It's nice out. I'll go out with my camera and try to get pictures. But there's dark planets. I was noticing it a couple weeks ago in the southwest. Southeast, actually. I was trying to get a picture of a star in the southeast, and there was a dark planet in front of it. I'm thinking, where's that come from? It wasn't my camera, because I wasn't even looking through my camera. I'm just looking up at the sky, and I could see that dark planet. I'm thinking, what the heck is that? And it seems like there's several of them amongst us, other people getting video of these planets coming in. I was watching one the other day from somebody in Alaska. They're kind of on a Nibiru watch up in Alaska, and they were watching this planet up there with a bunch of craters in it. So a lot of these planets, they're dark. Coming in with Nibiru, perhaps, or just different abandoned rocks, planets. I don't know. I know there's fleets of different things coming in. There's always stuff coming in, right? They come and they run. Catch on fire and take back off. That's because of our Orgondare. I asked readers if you had any questions for the show, to send them to my email address at sherry@shredder.com, or if you're in the chat room now, you can post them in the chat room. I got a couple questions from a listener, and I was going to answer them. She says, on one of your radio shows you mentioned something about Paul and Sananda. And my question is, could Paul have been dwelt by Sananda? Yeah, I've had the thoughts that Paul was actually played by Sananda. Because if you look at the descriptions of Paul, they say he was very tall with red hair. And there's two descriptions of the Ashtar commanders that would fit that description, one of them being Sananda, the other one being Germain. And so we know Germain has floated around the earth playing several different characters. He's played Shakespeare, also some philosophers. He's referred to as the man who never dies. Supposedly lives in London. There's a soccer team named after him there. And he's also the architect, the grand architect of the New World Order. If you look at the symbol of the Masons, they have the G in the middle of their square and compass. And people assume that stands for God, but I think it stands for Germain, because he is the grand architect of the New World Order. And so I wouldn't be surprised if Germain played the Apostle Paul, because we know that Paul was sent in to destroy the church, started to persecute it, and then decided to subvert it instead, and has completely destroyed it and led people away from what Yahushua and the apostles taught, proclaimed himself as the 13th apostle, which we know there were only 12, and has led the churches astray. And also playing Shakespeare, put his own 13 books he wrote as dominant in the KJV. I wouldn't doubt it a bit if Paul was Jermaine. Could have been Sananda. Question 2, why is Florida under such judgment to be destroyed? Is it because of the alien military bases and NASA here and also gay agenda? Florida is under judgment to be destroyed because of all the witchcraft that's there. You allowed all those Cuban immigrants over, and they have destroyed Florida with their voodoos and their sangrias, or whatever they're called, and their witchcrafts. That whole state, from one end to the other, is witch covens. If you look at the female judges on TV, they're all from Miami. Judge Judy, Judge Marilyn, the other ones from Hot Bench. They're all from that Miami cult. That whole state is under judgment, and they come after the Lord's people. That group in Miami was the one trying to kill me last year. That's the whole reason Lilith was put into detainment. She was working with them. And the Father's anger is on them, and he's on that state, and he is going to sink it. And so, which leads into your other question about Orgone. It doesn't matter if you have Orgone somewhere in the place that's under the Lord's judgment. He's going to destroy it. The Orgone's his. It's his. It's his energy. He can crank it up or destroy it. So, he's been telling people, I told people in 2008 to get out of Florida and Japan. And some people have left Florida since then. Of course, with Japan was going to go completely under, and he relented. So, of course, Fukushima struck it 2 years later. But that island is going to be going under eventually anyway. And Florida is going under when the comet hits the Atlantic. I don't think the northern part, extreme northern part of Florida will be affected. But I could be wrong. So I do know from about 3/4 of the way down, it's going to go under. So, and that was slated to be destroyed back in the Gulf fiasco too, several years ago, and he relented. And so he keeps relenting in a lot of his judgments, but they will eventually come about. He just delays them because of the people that are there, the Christians that are there, and the ones who pray for their states. And so, yeah, it doesn't matter. I'm going to sit here praying against the New World Order cabal. You can pray that they get flesh-eating diseases. We used to do that, and then we destroyed thousands of their temporals that they were creating. They were creating these temporals, what they call temporals, and they're cloned human bodies. And then the lizards would take over these cloned human bodies and use them so they could rape and harm children. And so we were asking the Father to crank up flesh-eating diseases on those who harm children. And they were going through tens of thousands of temporals because of that. The temporals were only lasting one night because they would get eaten up with flesh-eating diseases. And so you can always keep praying for flesh-eating diseases upon those who harm children. And yes, I know the media is ridiculous with the Russia stuff. I am so sick of it too. I think everybody is. Everybody's tired of hearing about Russia. Russia this, Russia that. Blah, 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 Russia, 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 Russia. We're sick of it. Everybody's sick of it. I feel you there. I'm sick of it. I won't even turn on mainstream media or read websites or articles that have Russia in them. I'm so sick of the Russian card. Comey was never going to indict Hillary because the Queen runs the FBI. So the Queen was Comey's boss. And she's not going to let him take down her little pawn of Hillary or Bill because they're both her pawns. They were both also CIA agents. The Vatican runs the CIA, and also the Queen has her pawns in the CIA. And the Jesuits run the NSA. And so everybody has a stake in D.C. Nobody is, everybody has their own organizations. The Queen took over what they call the fifth element, fifth division of the FBI, and that's all her little pawns. Whole alien aspect to it. And they had their own underground area that we destroyed last year. And so, I was targeting a lot of the Queen stuff because she was coming after me. And her little pawns always think it's funny to abduct my dogs during my shows. And so, you want to abduct my dogs? I'll destroy a $10 billion base. I don't care. You want to piss me off? You want to play hardball because you think you're funny? We'll see how much you're laughing when I'm destroying all your toys. So, I just have to send angels to go get my dogs back. I don't know what their games are. They're stupid. They're really stupid. The stuff I go through. Anyway, I was reading this one article, and it's funny because I just posted on my Facebook yesterday my rant about why the churches support Israel, and then WorldNet Daily sends out an article of the church leaders challenging Trump to pray at the Temple Mount. Trump is on his visit to Israel, Saudi Arabia, Belgium. He's heading to the Holy Land, former Holy Land. Nothing near it now. It's run by Satanists. And this was my rant about why the churches are supporting Israel, because they're a bunch of Satanists. Baby raping, baby sacrificing Satanists, who then grind up the meat of the babies they rape and kill and put them in our meat supply. And McDonald's is their biggest supplier, their biggest buyer. And so these Satanists over there are disgusting. They have nothing to do with Christianity. They are not real Jews. In Revelation chapter 2:9 and 3:9 talks about the fake Jews. And this is them. They are fake Jews. They are not real Jews. And they follow the Talmud. And the Talmud is a satanic, filthy piece of crap. The Talmud claims that Jesus is burning in hot excrement in hell. It also says that all those who worship Jesus should be hung, or their heads cut off, or whatever it is. They should be killed. And so, let's give Israel our support, folks. Yeah, let's send our money over there. And the only reason our government does is because the churches support it. Send them billions of dollars a year. If that was true Israel over there, we would be getting billions of dollars from them every year. He would bless them so much, they wouldn't need anybody's support. But right now they can't even exist without the USA support. Why? Because they're Satanists. Why? Because they're under his judgment. They're not under his blessing. The churches are so apostate, and they're going to wonder why most of them are left behind. That's why the first group that leaves is so small, because it's the elect that leave, and the bride doesn't qualify. Half of them don't qualify. They'll be refined as the time goes. Don't throw your money at Satanists, folks. That's what leads Israel. The church has this propaganda thing going that God gave Israel back their land in 1948. Have you ever asked him about it? You always put his name to things. You ever ask him about it, besides going by church propaganda? Because that whole thing was instigated by the UN and the Rothschilds. And the whole World War II was instigated so they could kill the Torah-believing Jews, the real Jews, in Germany. So that when the UN gave Israel back their land, the Talmud Jews, the Satanist ones, could be the dominant majority. You see how that works? They used the whole Holocaust to kill off the real ones, so the fake ones could dominate Israel. So then the UN paves the way for Israel to reclaim that land, the Satanists. And now that's what we're dealing with. And the Star of David, a satanic pentagram, do you really think that real Israel would have a symbol of a pentagram, a satanic pentagram as a symbol? Come on, folks. Do you really think real Israel would throw out the prophets of old and accept the Talmud, which is satanic filth? No. You've been played. You've been deceived. And you've been supporting the satanic regime in Israel for years. Yahushua does not gather his people back to Israel until after his second coming. Then he gathers his people back to Israel. This whole charade since 1948 was a contrived lie. It's been nothing but a lie. Y'all been supporting Satanists. Trump's in a position where he's damned if he do or damned if he doesn't, because, the church religious leaders will get all mad at him if he doesn't bow down to Israel. Why? Because they're Satanists too. Look at the Satanists running the mega churches in America, shape-shifting reptilians, Masons. They're all Satanists. And Americans flock to their dens of lies and wolves and thieves every Sunday. It's called mega churches, and support them. Pretty soon they're all going to be lining up, getting the chip of the beast, because their leaders are telling them the mark of the beast has nothing to do with getting a chip implant. Even though Revelation 13 says it's all about technology, because you can't buy or sell without it, so you have to have the chip. It's like a debit card. But the beasts that run the churches today will tell them, no, it's not. And they're already doing so. That Arnold Murray's conditioned thousands. He's not even alive anymore. He's still conditioning thousands to believe that the mark of the beast is not a chip. That it's thoughts and actions. Really? How stupid does that get? How stupid do you get? And yes, you will be deceived, and innocent people will unknowingly take the mark of the beast by trickery and deception, because it's exactly what the Bible says. By deception, Satan deceives the world. Who do you think he uses his pawns? Whoever responds, those in the churches, those you would listen to. People always love the wolves. They always support the wolves. So anyway, the Times Square attack was a hoax. Another false flag. Russian Bids has a bid out on it. I haven't seen it. But I just saw that before the show started. Doesn't John prophesy about the seven thunders? When do those fall in Revelation? Those fall in sometime right after the seals. And so, nobody knows what they are. It's kind of nestled in Revelation chapter 10. 8 and 9 is trumpets, so probably right after the trumpets. Sometime around the trumpets. Yeah, because the seals are way before that. Nobody knows what the seven thunder trumpets are. But you know what? I think I have an idea. Because last time I did a show on Nibiru and Planet X, it was sabotaged so bad I couldn't even upload it to the internet. The 12 stages of Planet X Passover. The things that happened last time Planet X passed over the Earth allegedly 3,600 years ago. And it correlates with the trumpet and bowl judgments. Remember I told you the Father uses people and things to bring about His will on earth. Nibiru would fulfill a lot of these judgments. And we're seeing Nibiru and its dark planet system coming in. If these dark planets are the ones that are part of Nibiru, or if they're part of something else, I don't know at this point. Red dust, gravel, and hail. One of the first visible signs of the encounter of Planet X coming towards Earth was the reddening of the Earth's surface by a fine dust of rusty pigment. In sea, in lake, and river, this pigment gave a bloody coloring to the water. The dust was the forerunner of the gravel. So there was a hailing of dust, gravel, and hail on the earth as it approached Earth. Because, I was doing research on this red dust because I kept seeing visions. I kept having visions of places on fire. And there was this red substance on the ground. There were no bombs. There were no missiles. Just this red, fiery substance. And it would burn and burn and burn and burn. And whole areas would be on fire from this stuff. And then I saw this description of Nibiru, of what happened. This man, Dablowski, who did a bunch of research on it, and found this red dust. He was describing this red dust. I'm like, that has to be what I'm seeing. That has to be it. And there's a rain of a naphtha-type substance, crude oil, flammable liquid, napalm, the descent of a sticky fluid which came earthward and blazed with heavy smoke is recalled in the oral traditions of the inhabitants of both hemispheres. For a span of time after the combustive fluid poured down, it may have well floated upon the surface of the seas, soaked the surface of the ground, and caught fire again and again. I've just put up this web page on the 12 stages of Planet X Passover according to Velikovsky's Worlds in Collision. I want to go SherryShriner.com and read this page. I'll tell you the effects that Nibiru had worldwide last time it came here. Wind and darkness. An exceedingly strong wind endured for 7 days. All the time the land was shrouded in darkness. Earthquakes. The earth, forced out of its regular motion, reacted to the close approach of the comet. A major shock convulsed the lithosphere, and the area of the earthquake was the entire globe. That sounds like a 6-seal earthquake, don't it? Epic winds, disturbed rotation, tidal waves, electrical discharges, debris, meteors. We know a meteor, we know a comet and an asteroid hit the earth. Revelation chapter 8, a comet and meteor, a comet and asteroid will hit the earth. Extreme temperatures, roaring noise, earthquakes sounding like trumpets, magnetic reversals, pole shift, eruptions and clouds, volcanic eruptions. And so all these things caused by Nibiru in the past coming again in correlation with the 7 trumpets and the bowls, the wrath of God, and perhaps the 7 thunders that are coming. Anyway, folks, you can see that link at my website, SherryShriner.com. The 12 signs of the coming Passover at Planet X. I'll be back Monday night at 9 o'clock with my regular show. Until then, everybody, God bless.